Alright, hey guys, how's it going? Thrash in the Pit here, and today I'm going to be coming at you guys with a review of the newest Suffocation album. This is Of the Dark Light. There's a good shot of the album art right there. Suffocation is a band, if you didn't know, uh, debuted in early 90s death metal scene. First album, Human Waste. I think their most popular album is probably Pierce from Within. This is their latest release from them. This is the booklet. Oh, pictures of the band, all the shit, lyrics, out the nuts. You get the point. And then this really cool art thing. Well, it's not an art thing, it's just art. But it's basically a progression of the album art all the way up until you get to, whoops. Oh my god, this sucks. Okay. All the way up until you get into the album art. So I thought that was a cool little tidbit that they put in there. Yeah, let me just throw the booklet back in there real quick. And yeah, so there's the album art again. It's the back. Give you a better shot of all the track listings. But yeah, man, great release from Suffocation, classic. A lot of people say that they pioneered brutal death metal, along with, I'd say, Cannibal Corpse, because most bands like Vulvectomy, Cranium, Amputated, bands like, brutal slam death metal bands, I'd say are more probably influenced by Cannibal Corpse. But nonetheless, brutal death metal pioneers, definitely death metal pioneers though. They definitely had a very big influence as far as death metal goes, alongside Death, Obituary, bands of that sort. So yeah, favorite tracks off of this one: Clarity Through Deprivation, and the title track, Of the Dark Light. Um, Pros of this album: the production and the mixing is very good. As far as guitars go, the guitar tone on this one is super good. Guitars have a lot of crunch. There's a lot of palm muted riffs, down tuned, obviously death metal, and then drums, very good mixing on the drums, and production on the drums is spot on too, because the bass drum is super pronounced, because it's got a lot of super fast double bass parts, gravity blast beats, all kinds of shit. And what am I trying to say? Yeah, so kick drum on the drums is super pronounced. The snare is tuned just right and low enough in the mix to where it doesn't like overpower anything, because that's a one like pet peeve that I have with any sort of like metal or punk album, is if the snare is like too tight or too loose and then it's loud as shit in the mix. It just bothers me for some reason. I don't know why, but I just don't like it, because I feel like it's like annoying to listen to. And then the cymbals for the drums, man, cymbals, and the toms. Toms are really good too. Toms are pretty much just like the snares in the mix, or the snare, hopefully. But yeah, cymbals. Cymbals are perfect on this album to me, because they're like in the background. They're probably the lowest in the mix for the drums, and I love that with death metal. I kind of like them more pronounced in thrash, personally, um, and definitely black metal. Like black metal, if that stuff's in the background, it really makes me like it really adds the atmosphere because it kind of it's not so in your face. It's kind of like in the background, kind of. I love it whenever the production on stuff like this, the cymbals are more in the background, not so pronounced. Um, Vocals really good. The only gripe that I really have with the vocals on this one is there's not like a huge amount of range. I mean, there's a little bit of pitch up, a little bit guttural pitch down, but for the most part, it's at like right in between. It's like it's just like I wouldn't say guttural. Yeah, it's pretty low growl, not guttural, but like low growl. Definitely uh, like the vocals, but I would have liked to see a little bit more range as far as like how the a little bit shriek or like a little bit of low, super low, um, guttural. But other than that, I mean, Suffocation got great vocals, and the the worst part about this is that the bass. Um, I didn't really hear too much of the bass in this album, unfortunately. Bass guitar, and it sucks too because they have a track where it's just it stops and it's just do 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 and like bass, and the bass tone is so good, so good. It's like super muddy and distorted and sludgy and shit. It's so good. I wish they would have made that a little bit more pronounced. I don't know if that's more like the bass player's fault for not like being different than the guitar to where it's more pronounced, or I don't know if I just didn't pick it out in the mix right. But either way, would have loved to hear a little bit more bass guitar in there. But yeah, production on this one, killer, because obviously it's a Nuclear Blast release, so obviously it's gonna have really good shit. And then cons about this album, I only have two cons. Um, is that it doesn't have a lot of like super slow like cymbal crush like big brutal like parts where it's like tempo changes drastically and it's slow and it's just like big long growls that I like in death metal. Um, and then the other one is that on a couple of these tracks, the song just like totally stops and then it'll start again. But the problem that is that it doesn't like it like stops and then starts back up, but it has like the same or like a little bit faster tempo. I'm not really a big fan of that for some reason, but yep, that's what I have to say about the new Suffocation of the Dark Light album. Still think that this is a killer release. Suffocation. Um, Pierced from Within was the first death metal record I ever listened to, and then Human Waste after that, and then that got me into Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, Death, bands of that nature. So I really appreciate Suffocation's work a lot. And yeah, other than that, you guys can pick this up from Nuclear Blast, Amazon, your local record shop, FYE, probably anywhere, because Suffocation's a pretty big band. But yeah, other than that, if you guys enjoyed this, leave a like, do whatever you want, leave a comment, whatever. And let me know how you guys liked Of the Dark Light, if you got it on CD, vinyl, whatever. But yeah, overall, I'd say overall score on this one, I give it like an 85 out of 100. Pretty solid death metal. And yeah, other than that, cheers and good listens.